Neighbors get an eyeful when nudist steps outside. Dear Abby, we have a male neighbor I'll call Flash, who frequently walks out to get his newspaper, or the mail, or to retrieve something from his car while he's as naked as the day he was born. He's in his late 50s and divorced. Some of the women in the neighborhood know not to look towards Flash's home if they're out for a walk. They have discovered that he is most likely in the buff, standing at his glass door or sitting at his front office computer with the door open. Flash is otherwise a likable and helpful neighbor. We hesitate to say anything. We do not want to say anything that might destroy that relationship. It's not against the law to be a nudist or for a woman to go topless in public in this city. However, to see a fella streak to his car is a little surprising and unsettling, even for another adult. In the normal course of things, he may be spotted in the nude once a week. I can only assume this goes on daily, but thankfully, our paths don't cross more than once a week. Is this something we should be concerned about? Startled in Austin, Texas. Okay, let's do the commentary for the nudist lesson. Kind of a funny Dear Abby letter. Okay, here we go. So, imagine this situation. You are living in your neighborhood, probably a nice little suburban neighborhood, little nice houses, and one of your neighbors is always naked. He walks to his mailbox, he's naked. He walks to his car to get something, he's naked. He opens his windows or his doors, you can see him naked inside his house. Would this bother you? Now, I did this lesson in my class here in San Francisco. Most of my students are Asian, so I think Asian society, Asian cultures in general, are more conservative, more worried about nudity or nakedness compared to, let's say, Europe might be on the other side. In my experience, European people seem more relaxed about this kind of thing. And Americans probably in the middle. Europeans think we are too worried about nudity and nakedness, and Asian people probably think we're too liberal, too open about it. So anyway, it's always interesting with Dear Abby letters in my classes because I get to see the opinions of other students from other cultures. I'd say most of my students, I have a combination. I have a lot of Japanese students, a lot of Korean students, a lot of Thai students, and a lot of Mongolian students. And I just got a German student, but not so many Europeans, a few sometimes. And then a fair number of students from South America also. Right now I have one student from Paraguay. So they always have different ideas about these Dear Abby letters based on their personal values and also sometimes based on their culture. So anyway, what do you think? I would like you go to the forums and write, what should they do about this? Should they ignore him? It's no problem, right? So what? He's in the buff. It doesn't matter. The human body is natural. Why should we worry if the man is in the buff? So maybe they should not worry about this fella, right? Not worry about this guy just because he's in the buff. You know, so what? They feel a little unsettled. They feel a little upset, but not much. So maybe it's not a big problem. Especially in this city, it's not against the law. It's not illegal. Or maybe you have another idea. Maybe you think that, oh wow, this is terrible, right? So in my class, some people mention children. What if children in the neighborhood see this man naked? You know, maybe this man has some weird problem. Why does he want people to see him naked all the time? Why is he doing this? Why does he want that attention? Maybe he has some kind of strange problem. Is he wanting women to look at him, or you know, what is it? So other people in my class, you know, thought it was definitely a problem and that the neighbors should do something. So, you know, I guess you might have other ideas. Maybe you think it's a problem, maybe you don't. But anyway, go to the forums and write your opinion. What do you think should be done in this situation? Now, if you want to talk about a more serious topic, this is kind of a funny article, obviously, not so serious. But there is another serious issue which is connected to this, I think. And that is the idea of consensual behavior. And sometimes we call it in English consensual crimes if something is against the law, if it is illegal. And consensual means you agree, to agree. So consensual, it's an adjective. It means something that is agreed. So let's say, let me think of an example. Okay, for example, drug use is a very good example. Drug use, using, let's say, heroin, a very strong example. Heroin or cocaine. This is a crime, right? In most countries, it's a crime. The police will grab you if you have cocaine. They will take you to jail. They will punish you. Is that right? Because using cocaine, using drugs, is a consensual crime. What does that mean? It means you're not hurting another person, right? You are only deciding for yourself, right? You agree for yourself to use cocaine. Maybe you sell it to another person. Well, if it's an adult, then you both are consenting. That's the verb. To consent means to agree. Well, you both consent to buy and sell the drug, right? Nobody's forcing you. Nobody's hurting you. You're not hurting them. They are not hurting you. Nobody's being using violence or guns or in any way. Everybody agrees. I agree I have the cocaine. I want to sell it. And you agree you want to buy it. It's a consensual crime. It's a crime. The police will arrest you. But it's a consensual crime. It's different than a violent crime, right? If you hurt another person, if you hit them and take their money, that's not a consensual crime. The person did not agree. They did not ask you to hit them. They did not ask you to take their money. That's not consensual. But selling and using drugs for adults, we're not talking about children, we're talking about adults, that is consensual. It's totally consensual. So a lot of people in America, especially in the United States, they think, well, we should not punish consensual crimes. If somebody wants to use cocaine, if somebody chooses to become a drug addict, that's their problem, right? We should not put them in jail. That's their choice. It's a stupid choice, probably, but it's still their choice. They are adults. They are consenting to do this. They are choosing to do it. They are agreeing. So we should not waste time. We should not waste money with police, paying the police to catch them and then put them in jail. In jail, we spend a lot of money. We have to pay for their food. We have to pay for the building. We have to pay for the guards, right, to watch them. It's very, very expensive. So some people in the United States say, look, forget consensual crimes. We should not worry about consensual crimes. We should focus only on violent crimes or direct crimes. So if you steal someone's money, maybe it's not violent. Maybe you don't hurt them. You secretly take their money. But still, there was no consent. It's not consensual. They did not agree. They did not ask you, okay, please take my money. So there is this division, this difference in these kinds of crimes, consensual crimes and non-consensual crimes. Do you agree with this idea? Do you think that more focus, more attention, more money, more energy should be focused on direct crimes, non-consensual crimes, and less money, less time, less energy on consensual crimes? For example, drugs, for example, sexual crimes, like prostitution, things like that. Things that both people agree to do what they're doing. Anyway, it's a very interesting idea. Different countries have different ideas about this. A few countries in Europe also have this idea. I think Amsterdam is the most famous example. I think Portugal and even England to some degree, somewhat, have this idea, especially about what they call soft drugs like marijuana, alcohol, tobacco. They don't worry about these. These are consensual crimes. They don't worry too much about them. Same with prostitution. If a woman chooses to take money for sex, they don't worry about it. Both people are agreeing. They don't care so much. They focus more on violent crimes and direct crimes. But I know that, living in a country like Thailand, I live there in Asia, it's quite different. There and in Japan and other countries, the idea is more of, everybody must follow the same rules. And society will be damaged and destroyed if we let people choose these bad things. We cannot let people make bad choices. That's another idea. I guess that's the idea of... So I guess we have two ideas. One is the government should be a parent, and the citizens are like children. So we must not let them make bad choices. And then another model, another idea, is that the government is a collection of citizens, and individual citizens are adults and can make their own decisions. Anyway, so there you go. There's a lot of topics to write about in the forums and think about. We have the basic issue of the man in the buff, the neighbor. We have the idea of consensual crimes and non-consensual crimes, right? Things that people choose freely and things that are not chosen. And then we have this idea of government as parent or government as servant, serving the people. All right, you can write about any of those. Those are some small topics and big topics. Okay, well, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, welcome to the mini-story lesson for Nudist. Let's get started. Sarah longs for a fella named Bobby. She loves him deeply. But Bobby lives in Norway, and Sarah lives in San Francisco. Every day, Sarah thinks about Bobby and feels unsettled. Finally, she decides she must see him to be happy. She flies to Norway to retrieve him and bring him back to San Francisco. She spots him at a beach. She wants to run to him, but she hesitates because he's in the buff. She's shocked and startled because he's with a beautiful, busty woman who is also in the buff. Sarah starts to cry. Then she runs away. She returns to San Francisco. Sarah and Bobby never cross paths again. All right, let's go up to the top with questions. Sarah longs for a fella named Bobby. Sarah longs for Bobby. Does she want him very, very much? Yes, that's right. She longs for him. She wants him very, very much. She thinks about him all the time. She longs for him. Does Sarah long for David? Does she want David a lot? No. She doesn't long for David. She longs for Bobby. She really wants Bobby. She really, really needs and wants Bobby. She longs for Bobby. Sarah longs for a fella named Bobby. Does she long for a man named Bobby? Yes, exactly right. She wants a man named Bobby. Does she want a guy named Bobby? Yes, that's right. She wants a fella named Bobby. She wants a fella named Bobby. Does she long for a fella named Jim? No, she doesn't want a guy named Jim. Does she want a fella named AJ? No. She doesn't want a fella named AJ. She wants a fella named Bobby. Why does she want a fella named Bobby? Well, she wants a guy named Bobby, because she loves him deeply, very much. But there's a problem. Bobby lives in Norway, and Sarah lives in San Francisco. However, every day, Sarah thinks about Bobby, and she feels unsettled. Does she feel very, very, very upset? Well, actually, no. No. Unsettled does not mean very, very upset. It means just a little upset. She feels a little strange, a little upset, a little nervous and sad, maybe. So she feels unsettled. She feels a little wrong, but not a lot. Still, every day she feels unsettled. Does she feel unsettled only on Monday? No. She doesn't feel a little bad on Monday only. She feels unsettled every day. She feels a little bit strange, a little bad every day. Why does she feel unsettled? Well, she feels unsettled, she feels a little bad, because she misses Bobby. She's thinking about Bobby. She loves Bobby. But Bobby is in San Francisco. In Norway, and she is in San Francisco, right? They live apart. They live far away. That's why she feels unsettled. Does she feel unsettled because she ate something bad? No, she didn't eat anything bad. Her stomach's okay. She feels unsettled because she misses Bobby. She's sad about Bobby. Well, she feels unsettled every day. She feels unsettled. Finally, she decides she must see him. She must see Bobby to be happy. So, she flies to Norway to retrieve him. Does she plan to stay in Norway? No, she wants to retrieve him. She wants to get Bobby and bring him back to San Francisco. Right? She doesn't want to stay in Norway. She wants to retrieve him, get him, and bring him back to San Francisco. Does she want to retrieve her brother? No. She's not trying to get her brother and bring him back to San Francisco. She wants to retrieve Bobby, right? Why does she want to retrieve Bobby? Well, she wants to retrieve him because she loves him and misses him. She wants him to come back to San Francisco. So she wants to retrieve Bobby. When she flies to Norway, who does she want to retrieve? Well, she flies to Norway to retrieve Bobby. Okay, very good. She flies to Norway to retrieve Bobby and bring him back to San Francisco. She looks for him everywhere, in the cities, everywhere. But finally, she spots him at a beach. Does she see him at a beach? Yes, that's exactly right. She spots him at a beach. She sees him at a beach. Maybe the beach has many people. She's looking. Finally she spots him. Does she spot him in the city? No. She does not see him. She does not spot him in the city. Does she spot him in a car? No, she does not spot him in a car. Where does she spot him? Well, she spots him at a beach. When she spots him, is he alone? No. She spots him with another woman, right? Who does she spot at the beach? Well, she spots Bobby at the beach, right? And when she spots him, when she sees him, she wants to run to him, but she hesitates. Why does she hesitate? She hesitates because he's in the buff. He's naked. He has no clothes. Does she wait? Does she stop? Or does she run to him immediately? Well, she hesitates. She waits, right? She wants to run to him. She starts to go, but then she stops. She waits. She hesitates. She hesitates to run. Why does she hesitate to run to Bobby? Well, she hesitates because he's in the buff. He's naked. Is he wearing clothes? No. He's in the buff. No clothes. Is Bobby wearing a swimsuit? No, Bobby is not wearing a swimsuit. He is in the buff. He's in the buff. He is naked. He has no clothes. Does Sarah see other people in the buff? Yes, she does. She sees another person. She sees a beautiful, busty woman who is also in the buff. Does this woman have large breasts? Yes, she does. In fact, she's busty woman. She's a busty woman. Does the woman have a flat chest? A flat chest, very small breasts. No, no, no. She's a busty woman. She has large breasts. She's a very busty woman. Does Sarah hesitate because she sees Bobby naked with a busty woman? Yeah, that's right. That's exactly why she waits. That's exactly why she hesitates. She hesitates because she sees him in the buff, and he is with a busty woman who is also in the buff, who also has no clothes. That's why she hesitates and waits. After she hesitates, what does Sarah do? Well, after she hesitates, she sees him, and then she starts to cry. Oh, no! Sarah starts to cry. Then she runs away. She does not run to Bobby. She runs away. She returns to San Francisco alone. Sarah and Bobby never cross paths again. In the future, do Sarah and Bobby meet again? No, they never meet again. They never cross paths again. Do they see each other again sometime in the future? No, no, no. They never cross paths again. They never meet again. They never see each other again. Does Sarah cross paths with Bobby again? No! She never crosses paths with Bobby again. Sarah never crosses paths with Bobby again. Does Sarah cross paths with the naked woman again? Does she cross paths with the naked woman, the busty woman again? Well, maybe, but no, actually no, she doesn't. She never sees the busty naked woman, the busty woman in the buff, never sees her again either. She never crosses paths with Bobby or with the naked woman. Does Sarah cross paths with her mother in the future? Well, yes, probably, of course. She meets her mother a lot. She crosses paths with her mother many times. So they always cross paths, no problem. But she never crosses paths with Bobby again. Sarah and Bobby never cross paths again. They never meet again. All right, let's go back to the beginning. This time, I'll pause after the key words, the key phrases. Please repeat the phrase after me. Don't only repeat, please copy my pronunciation. Listen for my intonation. When do I go up? And when do I stretch? And when do I drop? Listen for that and copy it. Here we go. Sarah longs for a fella named Bobby. Sarah longs for a fella named Bobby. Good. She loves him deeply. But Bobby lives in Norway and Sarah lives in San Francisco. Every day, Sarah thinks about Bobby and feels unsettled. Every day, Sarah thinks about Bobby and feels unsettled. Finally, she decides she must see him to be happy. She flies to Norway to retrieve him. She flies to Norway to retrieve him. Good. She flies to Norway to retrieve him and bring him back to San Francisco. She spots him at a beach. Good. She spots him at a beach. Good. Copy that intonation. She spots him at a beach. She wants to run to him, but she hesitates. She wants to run to him, but she hesitates. Good. She hesitates because he's in the buff. She hesitates because he's in the buff. Very good. She's shocked and startled. She's shocked and startled. Good. She's shocked and startled, she's surprised, because he's with a beautiful, busty woman. Good. Because he's with a beautiful, busty woman. Good. She's startled because he's with a beautiful, busty woman who is also in the buff. Good. She's startled because he's with a beautiful, busty woman who is also in the buff. Sarah starts to cry. Then she runs away. She returns to San Francisco. Sarah and Bobby never cross paths again. Good. Sarah and Bobby never cross paths again. Okay, very good. Please pause and tell all of the story again. Tell the entire story. Try to use all the new phrases and vocabulary. All right, I will see you next time. When you finish, go to the point of view story.